All right, welcome to another episode of I Must Ask You a Question with Jen and James. Thanks for joining us. We're going to do something, I guess not different because we already kind of did it, but we're going to kind of retread some of the questions that we did in the first episode because the first episode never aired. So we're going to go ahead and, be a little repetitive, at least on our end. But how you doing, Jen? Everything going good? Is your new Comic Wednesday been good? Good. What's the big seller?
Quite a few bucks. It's kind of hard to tell because we had so much fun. We did a really dumb show last night on the Comic Book Shopping Network. We do all of our new books, right?
Yeah.
But we decided we would
Pogs. I love
during
them.
the show. So it became a little bit of a mix between buying comics and making Pog puns.
So what, that's a perfect segue.
So, we sold out of a lot of good.
What, Pogs? I remember when I was a kid, they were, whoever they are, but they really tried to push those things to be the next big collectible, and it just never seemed to hit. But from what I understand, there's still some diehard Pog fans out there. Where'd you get your stash of Pogs? Was it something you just had for a while?
Okay, no lie. This is going to make you laugh.
Okay.
So I actually was goofing off during Minute to Skim It and noticed there was a brown box down on the floor, right? Okay, this brown box.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that one of my customers brought it to me and said, give this away to kids or whatever you want to do. And so I opened it up and the whole thing was full of Pogs, but the original Pogs from Hawaii. So almost all of them are from Hawaii destinations or the islands or businesses. And I thought that's Burger King Hawaii. That's not playing around. And a lot of them are actual, they started out as just the tops of milk things. They're milk sealers. You can always tell which ones are the real ones because they have staples in them. But Joey loves Pogs. They're
he says fat slammers. I remember those, the bigger ones that would overtake your normal Pogs. Yeah, it's so crazy.
I can remember when I first started. So first store was in 1995, and Pogs were just kind of on the end of the height of their popularity when people, everyone at the house had one of those big long tubes where you put your Pog in. But if you messed up and put your slammer in there sideways, then you had to take everything back out because then nothing would slide down the tube. But they made them for everything. They made them for cereals, for every character, for every even small press. They all made Pogs. You can still find out there in the open market sealed packages of Spawn Pogs.
I remember the Spawn ones. That was kind of what introduced me to them when I was a kid, was the Spawn ones when they came out. And it's just really fascinating because you'll take things that we're in the collectibles business and how some collectibles are long lasting and others aren't. I remember when Funko Pops came out, right? And everybody thought eventually they're going to be, because like you said, with Pogs and then even Beanie Babies, right? They were putting out both for everything. And then eventually it just became, the way of Vanilla Ice, just uncool, where it was the coolest thing and then uncool. And Pops haven't taken that. They are still going strong, more so than they've ever gone before. It's just really fascinating how some collectibles just last and some don't. But licensing seems to be the key to either take it to that next level or not. When did you sell Pogs for a while, at the shops? I know you said the Spawn ones, just right at the beginning.
So I actually came in too late to get started, honestly, because they were kind of stores had gotten to the point where they still had a case of them, but no one was buying them anymore. So I didn't start into them. But about 5 years ago for this store, I got a bee in my bonnet that I was going to make Pogs happen again, like Joey wants to have happen. So I think we can still do it. I need to have someone to come alongside me and make it cool, and then everyone else will do it too. But I started carrying Pogs. I went and found vintage Pogs by the case and all that stuff. And we actually had a Pog tournament in which I thought I was going to be the boss at doing because I played Pogs back in the day. And I realized I am the worst Pog player ever. And I also relearned something that I had forgotten, is that you think that the big metal slammers are the ones to use, but I got schooled by some teenagers that came in with just the plastic ones and would flip everything, and I couldn't flip anything. Mine just scattered everything off the table, which doesn't count. So I had marbles.
I have a boomer moment to as the kids would say nowadays. I didn't know Pogs was a game. Like that's how. Like, so you got to explain to me this game that you guys like. It was a game. Like I didn't know that until this very moment, and I feel really out of the loop. What was the game? I know what the slammers were, what they look like, but I have no idea.
So you could play it a mean way, or you could play it kind of like the I want to stay friends with you way. So you had your Pogs and your opponent had their. I think you went in with like, I think it was like 5 and 5 or 6 and 6. Usually you would write your name on the back of them if you wanted to have them back, but you would put one of your Pogs, one of their Pogs, their Pogs, their Pog, their Pog, your Pog. And then you would take turns throwing your slammer at them and try to flip them over. If you could flip over a Pog, then it went to your pile. You want to stay friends way. You would just see who ended up with the most that they were able to flip over. It's really hard to flip one if you end up with one at the end, by the way. But and then you would just do it again, right? So you're risking your prize collectible by allowing someone to use their gigantic metal slammer on them if they didn't know what they were doing.
But you were saying the plastic ones were better? The plastic slammers were better than the metal ones? That's what you found out, essentially? Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, the fact that it's a game now it kind of shocks me. I thought that's all it was just like a cardboard bottle cap or, metal or plastic. I didn't realize it was a game. So now I'm even more shocked why it didn't last, because when it's a game, I mean, you look at Pokemon, look at Magic the Gathering, how long that's lasted. Yet Joey here says that he had tournaments at school. That's just wild, man. So yeah, maybe it could be a resurrection of some sort. Maybe that's something. It was
exactly the way Pokemon is, where they would take your Pogs away because you would be so distracted in class trying to trade Pogs or sneak to the corner and play Pogs. I'm sure it was like this generation's like dice or marbles. So yeah, it would be easy to bring back, especially since the new generations have no idea that it was a game. They could totally be like, I'm cool and retro.
Yeah, and retro is the thing right now. That you're giving me ideas. You're giving me lots of ideas because, I mean, that's kind of a perfect segue into, the new collectible myself and some close friends were trying to create called comic tags. And I mean, maybe there's a comic tag version. Can you imagine if it was a Pog that had a digital comic on it and you can play it and also read something? I mean, I think you guys might be onto something here. But yeah, that's for those of you who don't know, comic tags, we just released it like in June. I'm going to ask Jen a question here in just a second, but the background on it is I guess the log line is making digital comics collectible. So what we did is we combined 3 different popular, really like collectibles, trading cards, comic books, and then really gift cards. And we combined the 3 to form this new type of collectible called the comic tag. So it's like this little booklet that opens and closes like a comic book, but on it is glue boogered, as we call it. Whether it's a metal, plastic, all different hologram, foil card that on the back has a unique digital code that allows you to download the graphic novel of that particular, series. So it's we look at it as like low hanging fruit. We have these little countertop displays and it's very inexpensive where our launch title, like retail price is $6.99. Comparably, most graphic novels, print and digital, are like $15 to $30. So we really think this is a way for retailers to tap into that digital marketplace. Because one of the things with my other career, which was huge in the industry, is when online trading, I'm a stockbroker as well as president of Scout. And online trading came out in the late 90s. Everybody thought that was going to be the end of the stockbroker. But it's not, because, people still need advice. And it was definitely a seismic shift in like trading individual stocks instead of like all these other different types of investment products. That for sure. And I kind of feel like it's very parallel to the comic world, where when digital comics came out, a lot of stores were afraid that it was going to affect them dramatically because people can now just buy it anywhere, anytime on a digital platform. But the one thing that I always thought that it lacked was collectability. You can buy a digital book, but there's really no collectability. And that's what's so beautiful about this industry that we're in, is that that's why I'm in it. I'm a collector. I'm a reader. I love comic books. I'm old school. I like buying my comic books, monthly, with the periodicals, the issues, when so many new readers that we've gotten in this industry have been from graphic novels. Wouldn't you agree that like the rise of the graphic novel has really helped the industry? And that's really only in the past 10 years.
Yeah. I think things have changed a lot. I know for a little while people were worried that we were becoming graphic novel stores.
Yeah.
But I found that there are customers that want everything, right? They want the individual issues for the collectability and the graphic novel to read, and it looks nice on shelves. And then, this gives them another option. I'm going on vacation and I don't want to have super heavy luggage, but I want to be able to have something to read on the beach. Then you've got your comic tag full of your favorite books downloaded to your phone or your iPad, and then you can just read them at your leisure. And they're easy to like if you really, really love a title, you can and you have friends especially that you want to introduce to things that they're not. I'm not a comic book person. You could give them one as a birthday present, and it doesn't put you out a whole bunch of money at that price point for sure. And it gives them an opportunity to try it out.
Create a new revenue stream for like the creators, for the publishers, of course, and then also for the stores. Like just another way to get, because ultimately, I'm speaking from a creator now. Is like I just want people to read my stuff, and this is just another avenue of making that possible. I know it's really exciting. I'll be making the announcement here. I'm going to break. I mean, that's what I kind of envision our show, Jen, is to do some breaking news and whatnot. But I've had some really good discussions with some other comic publishers about getting them on the Comic Tag platform. And we're going to have some announcements pretty soon for this next batch. But we're actually releasing them in waves, as we call them. And it's waves of 8. And our next wave is coming out at the end of this month. And then we're going to be doing that for the foreseeable future. So the first few waves are going to be just Scout, and then eventually it's going to be multiple publishers, and we're going to do different iterations of comic tags. And I broke it on the unaired episode, and I'll break it here again, that our next version is we're doing this kind of the same thing, but instead of gift cards, we're going to go after the greeting card market. So that's probably going to be released just before the holidays. But the idea there is to do a comic tag where you still get the collectible card, but the backer card is now a greeting card, your typical size greeting card, which I think is like 5.5 by 7. And on it, like using an example, Metal Shark Bro is a very popular character of ours. Imagine him just like playing guitar, like a splash page. And then on the back of the greeting card, obviously you have an envelope, but it's going to be more of a universal greeting card. We thought this was really cool and a great way to break into that market. We're going to have little word balloons that say things like happy birthday, happy graduation, happy anniversary, all that stuff. So it's going to be interchangeable, and you can have Metal Shark basically saying these things. So we're going to be releasing those very soon. We got the patent, we sent it to the patent attorney and really getting some samples, and we're going to kind of go from there. But it'll be it's going to be bagged and boarded. The board is going to be the sticker thing with all the, the sticker card, I'd say. And it's going to look like just like a mini comic, like the old school ash cans. So we're really excited about this. Just like another way of, one of our partners, her brother is the head purchaser at Hallmark. So that's a good in for us.
Oh, snap.
So and obviously, like, Scout, I love Scout. I'm very biased for understandable reasons. But I think having this and going to some of the bigger boys like Marvel and DC, like, you go to Hallmark with a Spider-Man card, that looks like Amazing Fantasy 15. And then on that card is like a PDF copy of Amazing Fantasy 15. And you do that same concept. I think that's honestly like the license to print money. So we're really, really excited about this whole initiative. It's been a great ride. I mean, this whole thing, it's just trying to maintain my sanity with time management wise is rough. But I know we've talked about doing the show live going forward. I know we're going to have some different we're going to have different sites that we're going to be on live, and we'd love for our fans to come out and basically ask us questions. That's the theme of the show. But until then, I wrote down some questions that I'm going to ask you, Jen. So feel free to ask me questions as well. So we're going to kind of go back and forth. But my first question, it's again a biased question, and I just kind of want. What has been your so far out of everything that you've read? And you don't have to say mine. Don't say mine. I'm going to eliminate any of ones that I've done, just so it's, you know.
No fair. That's so hard. It's like there's so many different genres. I have to like pick from genres almost. You know what? The one that I think is the most fun to read because it's so counter kind of my personality is Murder Hobo.
Ah, that's awesome. Schmalky will love to hear that, man. He'll love to hear. It's genius. And something about Murder Hobo, for those fans who don't know what it is, it's you're either gonna love it or hate it. I don't think there's any in between with that series. But that's great to hear. It's so raunchy, as Joey says in the chat. That's awesome though. So you're enjoying it. I mean, they have some amazing plans. And I have some more breaking news. We have for Tracker, which is our toy line. I think today I'm waiting for a call from the shipping department of this company, but we're supposed to get a delivery. We're doing those miniatures. Maybe I said it on last episode. I'm not sure, but they're going to be compatible with Warhammer. It's Murder Hobo miniatures. It's a 2-pack. It has this really cool packaging. There's going to be a card that you can actually integrate on games. Your Murder Hobos can fit right in. It's going to be awesome. We're going to offer them, of course, to retailer partners like yourself. It's going to be available for Lunar as well. But it's supposed to arrive anytime now. It's going to be one of our first. Our first major launch was that Stabby plush. It's going to be our second major launch. And it's a cool collectible, man. And what Schmalky and Jason and Ryan have, the card, like I'm not a Warhammer player. I've never played. But Murder Hobo, for those of you who don't know, is like, he's the jerk who's not good or bad. He just goes to mess things up. Like the original Murder Hobo with that Leroy Jenkins, where I'm sure most of you have heard that or seen that YouTube video where he comes in playing World of Warcraft, and you have this guy, he's all talking. He's like, all right, here's the strategy. We're going to go here. This group goes over here. And then all of a sudden he just runs in and he goes, Leroy Jenkins, and he messes everything up. And then you just hear all the people on the voice chat just like, what is Leroy doing? Oh, and they all get slaughtered. So that's what a Murder Hobo is. And that's the story, is essentially what that's about. And it is raunchy, it is genius, and it's interesting. But so that's your number one. That's great.
Today, right. So here's the deal. Today. This is me being honest. You ask me tomorrow, and it's going to be a different scout book.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the one thing I love about the company, though, is like you said earlier, just we have so many different genres, and the goal is to just put out quality stuff. And being a fan, all of us who are part of Scout are fans of comics. And it's just, I mean, it is a blessing to be able to put out cool stuff that you yourself would buy if you weren't part of the company. And the stuff that we have in the pipeline, it's so awesome. I have a couple calls today too, which hopefully some big projects that are going to determine one way or another on where they go. So I'm excited. Like today is going to be a busy day. But that was good. You have a question for me now.
Oh, I do. Okay, so I know that back at New York Comic Con, was it 2 or 3 years ago, you guys announced your entertainment arm of your company, which meant you were very clearly thinking differently than just a comic book company. You were thinking about a comic book company that was going to be developing some of their properties. In your time since then, that you've had opportunities to talk with people about the possibility of developing things, what has been the most mind-blowing experience? I know you can't say names about anything. What was the most mind-blowing experience of calls that you had, just the circumstances around it? Did you have a moment where you're like, what the heck is even going on in my life?
Yeah. In 2019, we did, myself and one of my partners, his name is Tennessee Edwards, just amazing guy. He looks like Thomas Jane. We have a board meeting today, and I'm totally going to, I like to remind him of that. But I've been watching The Expanse, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Tennessee. I didn't know he was an actor. But anyways, we went to Los Angeles in September of 2019. And part of the idea was Tennessee used to live out there. He lives in New York City now. And we took 19 meetings with different studios. It was kind of like, that to me was like the most eye-opening stuff when we went into these. Like I was sitting in a waiting room with Jennifer Gardner, which was just mind-blowing. And
were you afraid to move?
I don't get like, thankfully, I think it helps in my position. Like I don't get starstruck or anything. But one thing that was really weird was how friendly all the famous people that we would see, they would look at us and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?" Like they're the ones who approached us. I don't know. It was really, that was very interesting. Who was the other one? It was Chris Pratt's old wife. I can't. She was in the Scary Movies. Kendrick? What was it?
Is it
Anna Kendrick?
No. Oh no, that's right. No, I'm just thinking of.
Yeah, she was in the Scary Movies. I
Yeah.
can't remember her name. We were sitting in another place. We were sitting next to her too, which was just wild.
Don't hate me, sister, that I can't remember. Oh.
Yes, it's going to drive me crazy too. I don't remember her name. Just some of the phone calls too. Like I was our manager, like our kind of lead manager with Mosaic. And I might have said this before. Maybe it was on that first episode that never aired. But it's been a year now since we've made Mosaic our manager. And it's run by Jimmy Miller, who's the brother of Dennis Miller. And he's one of the most well-known and influential managers in all of Hollywood, especially on the comedic side. He's the manager of Will Ferrell. He used to manage Jim Carrey back when Jim Carrey was like a god, with Dumb and Dumber and not Dumb and Dumberer, but which was a terrible movie. Dumb and Dumber and, Liar Liar when he was just doing all kinds of stuff. But when we became part of Mosaic, like those doors that have opened have just been just unreal. Like I've been on Zoom meetings pitching our titles to actresses and actors, which is just wild. I can't name it because it would reveal, but we had a Zoom call with one of the most popular just recently. So hopefully we'll have something to announce there soon. We're like a go. There's just one more. That's one of the answers I think we're going to get this week. Not today, but sometime real soon. That one was kind of mind-blowing, me being a huge professional wrestling fan. It's just like, wow. If I would have told myself 5 years ago, like this would be happening at this moment, is just insane. But I was talking to Patrick. Sorry, I can go off on tangents. I was talking to Patrick, who's our lead manager, and we were doing a Zoom yesterday, and he was introducing me to this really up-and-coming writer and who's about to become a showrunner. He did Flash. He's doing this new series with David Goyer called The Foundation that's coming out this fall. And TV. Yeah, that looks amazing. He's like one of the lead writers about maybe developing some of our stuff. So we did what they call an intro call. And Patrick's there and we like see each other kind of like right now. And Patrick just goes, "See ya, bye." And he's like, "Guys, you're not going to believe this." He's like, "That was Lance Armstrong. He just waved to me. I couldn't believe it." He just like, "Hey, see you later, Patrick." Like I couldn't believe it. So even him, who has just been around celebrities his entire life, being that Randy Newman, the famous musician, and his dad, like even he got starstruck with someone like, Lance Armstrong, like in the sports world is just, unreal. So that was that happens a lot. But yeah, that so far, the big thing was, just that trip was so memorable. Like I got to go to the Sony lot, and one of my good friends, who's also in the comic world, he works with Cover Price, Matt DeVoe. He kind of gave us a tour, and just the cool stuff on that tour is it was wild. Like going to seeing the set of the Goldbergs, that TV show on NBC, the 80s, and we got to have a meeting on Paramount. When we went to the Paramount lot, we had a meeting with the guy from Hasbro, but it was in the old Disney Arnett building, or it was like an old.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we went to Amazon, and I don't know if you knew this, but you know where Amazon's headquarters, and it might have been temporary headquarters, but it's in the mansion that they filmed Gone with the Wind in.
What?
Yes. So we literally are like, oh my gosh, it's like this is the mansion of Gone in the Wind. It's like their main offices, and they use it. It's attached to like I want to say a sound set or whatever I'm still learning all the lingo, but like they do a lot of filming around there.
Yeah.
And they used it as office. So when we were there pitching our books, we were like sitting in like, the master bedroom, Gone in the Wind. And it's cool. It's been a lot of fun. And I think it's only going to get better, to tell you the truth, with some of the stuff that we have in the works and that's going on. It's just like, it's going to be even better, because I think Don, one of my writing partners, he's he did The Founder, and he did Nightfall, The Rift, and he's really good friends and owns a production company with Jeremy Renner. Anna Faris, that's who it was. Anna Faris. Thank you, Joey.
We got Anna right.
Yes. But anyways, with Don, he's about to go film in Atlanta, because that's become like the hotbed for filming, Atlanta and Vancouver. And he's going to go film a new show. I believe it's with, I can't remember. I think it's Will Smith's company. But he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to, you want to come up and see the set? I'm like, yeah. So I think that's going to happen a lot in the next couple years, which I'm going to appreciate every second of it. That's the very long-winded answer to your question, Jen.
That's everything I thought it would be.
So many fun things, and I just, it's awesome. But the key to kind of go full circle on it is, we're comic fan. Like here, like I think a lot of companies, or independent fly-by-night independent companies, they kind of use publishing as a loss leader, because they want to like turn this IP into a movie or a television show. And the one thing that I think that has helped us grow so much is that we are comic fans first and foremost. We see that, not obviously, but if you don't know, TV and film for a comic creator and a company, like if it becomes that's how you make money. A lot of it is a labor of love, creating comic books. It's a long game. You spend a lot of money or a lot of time and effort, and it doesn't always pay off immediately. It'll pay off in time. But if you even get a show that's a bad show, like, you've made it as a company and as a creator. So we are so very close. We've really only been in existence for 5 years. Yeah. But I would say we've been firing on all cylinders really for only 2. And a lot of it's going to come, and just the excitement of the stuff that we have. I don't know if I think I told you last week, but yesterday our HQ, the contractor finished. So our new HQ is all ready to move in, and it looks so awesome. We have a podcast room there. So a room that's going to be dedicated to podcasts, and also we're going to do a lot of auctions. What you guys do on CBSN, we're going to do like a out show. So we're going to set it up where it's this like room that we do it. And I'm real excited. And yeah, I'm not excited about the move, because as you know, we're in sunny Florida, and July is not it's not a cool month. Mm-mm. So a couple of I like to put in the labor. I consider it Jedi training. That's how I trick myself into moving hundreds of comic boxes and fixtures and furniture. So my Jedi training is about to begin, and I think I'll become a master after this, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done in a short amount of time.
Well, you probably don't have a lot of time to go and do actual like regular person workouts. So this is, I always say that moving long boxes is my normal workout now.
I've made it a point to do that though. I have like this Beachbody app. If you guys don't know, I think everyone should try to be healthy, especially in a career. So up until about 2 weeks ago, I canceled my gym membership because of COVID. And I just got another membership at this like 24-hour one, which my life cycle right now, like I need to be able to, if I need to work out at 11 o'clock at night, like to go. But I try to make it as a priority, like brushing your teeth, just because like the stress, it's a great unwind, and I'm getting older. So yeah, but yes, that's going to be a heck of a workout. Long boxes are a great, moving long boxes. I mean, you would think they found a better way, put some wheels on those bad boys. We haven't figured that out. We need to get some bright minds on easier moving of comics, because long boxes are just, and when you look at them now, I don't know if you're like me, it's just, you loathe them. You're like, I'm gonna have to move you someday.
My favorite thing is so funny. Like if I'm moving long boxes from the front to the back, or vice versa, when people come like running to open the door for me, because we've got like those big double doors, and I always like to try to blow their mind. I'm like, no, I got it. Because I've got the whole box. And you just like hook the door with your finger and you throw it open and you use the heel of
you're used to it doing, yep.
Yeah, you just like have this thing. It's my Jedi mind trick. I got it.
That's awesome. You're like, that's a good story. Where the person, how like the drunken master with Jackie Chan, it was like he drinks and that's what makes him being awesome. We should do a story where you are a martial arts fighter, but only when you're holding long boxes, you become this like Matrix-esque heroine that can defeat all, but you have to be holding a long box that's at least half full. We find out an empty long box doesn't do it for you. It's at least half full.
It has to be.
This is going to be a silly question, but how many comics bagged and boards fit in a long box? 250?
Yeah, pretty much. It's
is it
250 if you don't have a bagged and boarded.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, I know our time is, we're at the 25. We're getting close to be out of town. So I want to ask one more question. So it's a doozy.
Uh-oh.
You ready for this? Yeah,
all right.
It's a doozy. So, what is your favorite comic book of all time?
Of all time? Oh.
Of all time.
God.
So I went big. I went big from Scout to all time.
Because this is different than the other question of what will I always pick up if I find it. So that's just like
slightly different, but it's very important. Like, what's your favorite comic book of all? Yeah, like what is your prized possession?
Shoot. It's weird. So this is my prized possession, which is so very odd. Back in, I can't remember what, it's a 90 something. There was a book that came out called Whiteout. I think it's.
Yeah. Kate Beckinsale was Oni Press, Whiteout.
Yeah. And I just wandered by his booth during a con and picked up a set of those from him and had them signed. And to me, those are, I don't know, there's something about that series because it is like a true crime story.
It's great.
Murder in, inescapable, where is it, at McMurdo?
Yep.
But I don't know. I just love the story so much and the art so much and just the personal connection to it. It reminds me of why I'm in comic books. It's not to have the most expensive book because I don't like anyone can get the most expensive book if you have enough money, but no one can go back to the 90s and have that experience of talking to the actual creator and having an autograph from them and having a moment. That's what I live for in the industry, is to have a personal connection with somebody.
We're two peas in a pod because my favorite one is Madman #1 that was published by, And I had a similar connection with Mike Allred. I met him. It's my goal as a creator in the industry is to try to get him to do a cover for one of my books. So with my book coming out, Third Wave 99, I actually reached out to him. So knock on wood. I'm ready. I'm ready to have my, but the first Madman, I love it. I have it hanging in my room, like in my office at the house, where I got a nice frame where I got it graded. And, I graded it not really for collectability, but just so I can hang it on the wall and it preserves it. But yeah, Madman #1 is that to me. What's your most expensive comic that you have, out of curiosity?
Oh, me? I don't have anything expensive that bad.
No.
I think there's probably the most expensive book I have is there's a series of Silver Age books from I don't know what year that are titled Max, because my son's name is Max, so I bought those for him.
Oh, that's awesome. Like a golden and silver age. That's cool.
Yes.
Well, awesome. Well, until next, I guess this would be a great time to wrap up. But again, always a pleasure to talk with you. And we're looking forward to doing it live to take, some of your fan questions. And again, it seems like every week we have new news. So
yes, there is.
Yes. We'll see everybody next week. And again, if you want to email us with questions, you can either email store@scoutcomics.com, or is it Ming, MING 4, the number 4, King, @gmail.com?
Yahoo!
Woo! Wait.
Woo-hoo.
Not at yahoo.com, but at gmail.com. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, if you guys want to email us questions, we'll gladly answer them. And thanks so much for tuning in. And Jen, as always, thank you for your support and keep up the great work.
It's always so much fun.
Yes. Mustache.
Mustache.
Oh, actually, I got to tell everybody before we leave. So, one of our partners, Don, again, I wrote them all with him. We made a gentleman's bet. We made a gentleman's bet, and he was for sure. The bet was basically a bill, right? If a bill went over this certain amount, a lawyer bill went over a certain amount, I would have to get a monkey beard. I don't know if you've ever seen the monkey tail beard. Have you seen those awful beards? So it's where you shave your face, where it's like all here, and then it goes into a tail, like a monkey tail. It's terrible. Google it. I said I would grow a monkey tail. Yes, if I lost. If I won, which I did, Don has to grow one of these marvelous mustaches.
Yes. So
we're having some pictures done at the new headquarters in the next 2 weeks. I'm not going to make him do it during those pictures, even though I want to. After that, I'm going to have a mustache brother named Don Hanfield, and I can't wait. So yeah, another breaking news. And I'll bring him on so we can ask him a few questions. Again, I think he would be a great little guest to do, Don, because his experience in Hollywood, him being a fan, and he's just a great guy. So just adding him would be great, because just getting his input on some of the stuff is it's really cool, the stories that he has. But until next week, everybody, we'll talk to you soon, and have a good one. Have a good rest of the week.